Ladies and gentlemen, life is an intricate dance. At times, the music of our days is disrupted by the dissonance of toxic people. Their words are sharp, their actions draining, and their presence akin to shadows that linger far too long. But in the face of such individuals, we must remember that power lies not in their grasp over us, but in our ability to navigate their darkness with dignity and grace. Picture this: a flame flickering in a storm. That flame is your inner peace. When confronted with toxicity, you must protect it. Don't let their storm snuff out your light. Acknowledge their behavior, yes, but do not absorb it. Emotional control is your armor, and with it you become untouchable. In this life, boundaries are not just lines, they are walls of self-respect. Speak them with quiet authority and enforce them without apology. Toxic people test limits, not because they're unaware, but because they thrive in chaos. By setting firm boundaries, you declare your worth and deny them the satisfaction of intrusion. Engagement, my friends, is a choice. There's no law that binds you to endure every tirade, every manipulative sigh. Limit your interactions to necessity, to purpose. Let your words be few, your demeanor calm. A brief interaction is often more powerful than a lengthy confrontation. But let me not lead you astray into bitterness, for empathy remains a powerful tool. Look at these individuals not with contempt but curiosity. What wounds might they hide beneath their thorns? Empathy allows you to understand without enmeshment, to see their humanity without shouldering their burden. Use it wisely. Amidst all this, remember your purpose. Toxic people are but distractions from your greater journey. Invest your energy in growth, in pursuits that elevate your soul. For every moment spent in their orbit is a moment stolen from your dreams. And when they seek to bait you into arguments or to justify your worth, resist. You owe no explanations to those who refuse to see. A dignified silence is a language they often fail to comprehend, yet it speaks volumes about your self-respect. Finally, know this: walking away is not a sign of weakness, but of profound strength. There is no glory in enduring what diminishes you. Sometimes the bravest act is to release what no longer serves you, to step into the sunlight unburdened by their shadows. You are the author of your story, and toxic people, they are but footnotes, not the narrative. Rise above, wield your courage, and let them see that their poison cannot touch the beauty of your spirit. Toxic people can often disrupt our emotional equilibrium, leaving us feeling drained, angry, or even powerless. However, one of the most effective tools for dealing with such individuals is maintaining emotional control. This concept is more than simply suppressing emotions. It is about cultivating a profound awareness of your internal state and refusing to allow external negativity to dictate your mood or reactions. The first step to mastering emotional control is recognizing the tactics toxic individuals use. Their behavior often revolves around manipulation, criticism, or creating chaos. They may provoke you intentionally, knowing that your emotional reaction will grant them a sense of power or control. By identifying these patterns, you strip away their power. You realize that their actions are not a reflection of your worth, but rather a manifestation of their unresolved issues. This understanding is crucial because it shifts the focus from feeling attacked to observing their behavior objectively. Remaining calm in the face of toxicity requires practice and intentionality. One effective strategy is to pause before reacting. When someone speaks or acts in a way that stirs your emotions, take a moment to breathe deeply and assess the situation. This pause creates space between their action and your reaction, allowing you to respond thoughtfully rather than impulsively. The ability to pause is a subtle yet profound act of reclaiming control over your emotions. It sends a clear message: I will not allow your negativity to dictate my state of mind. Equally important is the practice of emotional detachment. This does not mean becoming indifferent or cold, rather, it is about maintaining a healthy distance from the emotional turmoil others may try to impose on you. Imagine yourself as a solid rock in a river. The water may rush around you, but you remain steady and unshaken. Emotional detachment allows you to observe the toxicity without being pulled into it, ensuring that you stay grounded even in challenging situations. Self-awareness plays a pivotal role in emotional control. Pay attention to your triggers, those words, actions, or situations that tend to provoke strong reactions. Toxic people often have an uncanny ability to press these buttons. By understanding your triggers, you can prepare yourself to respond with composure rather than being caught off guard. For instance, if you know that criticism tends to unsettle you, remind yourself beforehand that their words are likely designed to provoke rather than offer constructive feedback. This preemptive awareness reduces the likelihood of being emotionally hijacked. Another key aspect of maintaining emotional control is reframing the way you perceive toxic behavior. Instead of seeing their actions as personal attacks, view them as a reflection of their struggles. This perspective shifts the narrative from "why are they doing this to me" to what pain or insecurity might be driving their behavior. Such reframing not only diminishes the emotional sting of their actions, but also fosters a sense of compassion, which can be empowering. When you no longer take their behavior personally, you rob them of their ability to unsettle you. Additionally, grounding techniques can be invaluable in high-stress interactions. These may include focusing on your breath, mentally repeating a calming mantra, or physically grounding yourself by pressing your feet into the floor. Such techniques anchor you in the present moment, preventing your emotions from spiraling out of control. They remind you that, despite the chaos around you, you remain the master of your internal state. Lastly, cultivating emotional resilience is a lifelong process. It involves regular practices that strengthen your ability to remain calm and composed under pressure. Meditation, journaling, or engaging in activities that bring you joy can help fortify your emotional well-being. When you are emotionally strong, the antics of toxic people lose their power over you. You become like a tree with deep roots, able to withstand any storm without being uprooted. By prioritizing emotional control, you equip yourself with the strength and clarity to handle toxic individuals without compromising your peace. This is not just a skill, but a form of self-respect and self-preservation, ensuring that your energy remains focused on what truly matters in your life. Setting clear boundaries when dealing with toxic people is an essential act of self-preservation and empowerment. Boundaries are not about pushing people away or creating walls of isolation. They are about defining the limits of what behavior you will accept and protecting your emotional, mental, and physical well-being. When dealing with toxic individuals, this becomes even more critical, because their actions often revolve around testing limits, exploiting vulnerabilities, and disregarding personal space. By establishing firm boundaries, you reclaim control over your life and interactions. The first step in setting boundaries is recognizing your own worth. Toxic people often erode self-esteem, leaving you questioning whether your needs or feelings matter. But the truth is, you have every right to assert what is acceptable in your interactions. This understanding forms the foundation of effective boundary setting. It begins with acknowledging that protecting your peace is not selfish, it is necessary. When you value yourself, you naturally feel more empowered to demand respect from others. Being clear and direct is crucial when communicating boundaries. Vague statements or passive approaches often leave room for misunderstanding or manipulation. Toxic individuals may use ambiguity as a means to overstep. Instead, use concise and assertive language. For instance, if someone tends to belittle you in conversations, calmly state, "I will not tolerate disrespectful comments. If it continues, I will remove myself from the discussion." Such clarity leaves no room for misinterpretation and establishes your expectations firmly. Consistency is equally vital in enforcing boundaries. Toxic people often test limits repeatedly, hoping to find cracks in your resolve. If you set a boundary but fail to uphold it, they may perceive this as permission to continue their behavior. By standing firm each time a boundary is challenged, you send a clear message that you are serious about protecting your space. This consistency is not about being rigid or unkind, it is about demonstrating self-respect. The emotional discomfort that sometimes accompanies setting boundaries is normal, but must be managed. Toxic individuals often react negatively when their behavior is called out or their influence is curtailed. They may respond with anger, guilt-tripping, or attempts to portray you as unreasonable. Anticipating these reactions can help you stay grounded. Remember, their discomfort with your boundaries is not your responsibility. You are not obligated to endure harmful behavior to keep someone else comfortable. Learning to say no is a powerful tool in boundary setting. Toxic people often thrive on your willingness to accommodate their demands, even at your own expense. Saying no is not about rejecting them as individuals, but about refusing actions or behaviors that harm you. It is an act of self-care, that prioritizes your needs over their impositions. The more you practice saying no with confidence and without guilt, the stronger your boundaries become. Boundaries are not limited to verbal expressions, they also include actions. For example, limiting the time you spend with a toxic individual or choosing not to engage in certain conversations are ways of enforcing boundaries non-verbally. Your actions can speak volumes about what you are willing to tolerate. If someone continually drains your energy, you might reduce the frequency of your interactions or set specific time limits for engagement. These actions reinforce your verbal boundaries and demonstrate your commitment to protecting your well-being. Understanding that setting boundaries is a dynamic process can also help ease the journey. It is not a one-time act but an ongoing practice that requires reflection and adjustment. As relationships evolve, so too may the boundaries you need to set. Regularly evaluate your interactions with toxic individuals and make changes as necessary to ensure that your boundaries remain effective and relevant. At its core, boundary setting is about reclaiming your personal power. Toxic people often thrive on control, manipulation, and exploitation. By establishing and enforcing boundaries, you disrupt this dynamic and assert your autonomy. You remind them and yourself that your life, energy, and peace are not theirs to take. This act of self-respect not only protects you from harm, but also fosters a sense of empowerment that extends far beyond your interactions with toxic individuals. Limiting engagement with toxic people is one of the most effective strategies for preserving your energy and maintaining your peace of mind. Toxic individuals often thrive on prolonged interactions, using them as opportunities to manipulate, control, or provoke reactions. The longer you engage, the more vulnerable you become to their negativity. By consciously minimizing your time and energy spent on these individuals, you reclaim control over the narrative of the interaction and protect yourself from unnecessary stress. The first step in limiting engagement is understanding the purpose of your interactions. Ask yourself why you need to communicate with the toxic person. Is it a necessary conversation related to work, family, or another obligation? Or is it an optional engagement that you could avoid? When you are clear about the purpose, you can streamline the interaction to focus solely on what is essential. This clarity helps prevent the conversation from veering into unproductive or emotionally draining territory. When engaging with toxic individuals, keeping conversations brief and purposeful is crucial. Avoid providing too much information or engaging in topics that invite criticism or manipulation. Toxic people often use details or vulnerabilities you share as ammunition against you later. By maintaining a concise and neutral tone, you deny them the opportunity to latch onto emotional triggers or derail the conversation. For instance, if they attempt to steer the discussion toward drama or conflict, redirect the focus back to the topic at hand or politely end the conversation. Maintaining emotional neutrality is another critical component of limiting engagement. Toxic individuals often bait others into emotional responses, whether through criticism, passive-aggressive remarks, or exaggerated complaints. When you respond calmly and without emotion, you disarm their attempts to provoke you. It's not about suppressing your feelings, but about choosing not to give them the reaction they seek. For example, if they make a cutting remark, you can acknowledge it without escalation by saying, "I hear your concern," and moving on to another subject. Creating physical and psychological distance can also be highly effective in limiting engagement. Physical distance involves reducing the time you spend in their presence. This could mean avoiding unnecessary social gatherings where they are present or declining invitations that put you in close proximity to them. Psychological distance, on the other hand, involves mentally detaching from their influence. You achieve this by reminding yourself that their opinions, criticisms, or actions do not define you. Visualizing a protective boundary around your emotional space can help reinforce this mental separation. Technology provides additional tools to limit engagement effectively. If a toxic person frequently contacts you via phone or messaging, you can set boundaries around when and how you respond. For instance, you might decide only to answer their calls during specific hours, or limit your responses to brief, factual messages. If necessary, you can mute notifications or use features like email filters to manage their communication. These steps create a buffer that protects your peace while still allowing for necessary communication. It's also essential to avoid being drawn into their dramas or conflicts. Toxic people often create chaos to pull others into their world. They may present themselves as victims, exaggerating problems to gain sympathy, or instigate disputes to shift focus away from their behavior. Recognize these patterns for what they are: distractions designed to keep you engaged. Politely refuse to participate in their dramas, and if they attempt to involve you, respond with a simple, non-committal statement like, "I hope you can find a solution to that." Lastly, limiting engagement is not about being unkind or dismissive, but about protecting your well-being. Toxic individuals may interpret your reduced interaction as rejection and react with anger, guilt-tripping, or attempts to reassert control. Anticipate these responses and hold firm in your decision. Their discomfort is not your responsibility. By setting limits and sticking to them, you send a clear message that your time and energy are valuable, and you will not allow them to be wasted on negativity. Through these strategies, you create space in your life for positive relationships and meaningful interactions, allowing you to thrive without being weighed down by the toxicity of others. Using empathy wisely when dealing with toxic people is both a powerful and nuanced approach. Empathy, at its core, is the ability to understand and share the feelings of others. It allows us to connect on a human level, even with those whose behavior may be challenging. However, when dealing with toxic individuals, empathy must be applied carefully and intentionally to avoid becoming ensnared in their negativity or manipulation. It is not about condoning their actions or allowing yourself to be a victim of their toxicity, but about leveraging understanding as a tool for maintaining perspective and balance. The first step in applying empathy wisely is to recognize that toxic behavior often stems from deeper issues. Toxic people are frequently carrying pain, insecurities, or unresolved traumas that manifest as manipulative, aggressive, or harmful behavior. While this does not excuse their actions, understanding their struggles can help you approach the situation with less anger and more clarity. For example, someone who lashes out with harsh criticism may be projecting their own feelings of inadequacy. When you see their behavior through this lens, it becomes easier to detach emotionally and avoid taking their actions personally. Empathy also involves listening without absorbing. Toxic individuals may vent their frustrations or share their problems in ways that are overwhelming or emotionally draining. While it can be tempting to offer solutions or take on their burdens, this often leads to becoming entangled in their negativity. Instead, practice active listening with healthy boundaries. Acknowledge their feelings without internalizing them. Statements like, "I can see this is hard for you," validate their emotions without implying that you will fix their problems or tolerate inappropriate behavior. Another critical aspect of using empathy wisely is differentiating between understanding and enabling. Toxic individuals often rely on the empathy of others to perpetuate their behavior, exploiting kindness as a means of maintaining control. For instance, they may use guilt to manipulate you into prioritizing their needs over your own. Recognizing these patterns is essential. Empathy does not mean sacrificing your well-being or allowing yourself to be mistreated. True empathy is balanced. It respects their humanity while also honoring your boundaries and self-respect. Practicing detachment with compassion is another effective way to apply empathy in toxic situations. This means caring about the person without becoming consumed by their actions or emotions. It's a delicate balance that requires emotional maturity and self-awareness. Detachment allows you to remain supportive in a way that does not compromise your own mental or emotional health. For example, you can wish them well and hope for their growth, while still choosing not to engage in their negativity or toxic dynamics. Empathy can also be a tool for de-escalation in confrontational situations. Toxic individuals often thrive on conflict and seek to provoke reactions. Responding with understanding rather than aggression can diffuse tension and shift the dynamic. For example, if someone is yelling or criticizing, a calm response like, "I hear that you're upset. Let's talk about this," when we're both calm, acknowledges their feelings while setting a boundary. This approach reduces the likelihood of escalation and keeps the focus on productive communication. However, it is essential to be mindful of your own limits when practicing empathy with toxic people. Overextending yourself emotionally can lead to exhaustion and resentment. Regularly check in with yourself to assess how these interactions are affecting you. Are you feeling drained or overwhelmed? Are you sacrificing your own needs to accommodate theirs? If so, it's time to recalibrate. Empathy is most effective when it is grounded in self-care and self-awareness. Finally, using empathy wisely does not always mean staying in close contact with toxic individuals. Sometimes the most compassionate thing you can do for yourself and for them is to step back. Removing yourself from their influence allows you to protect your well-being while giving them the space to confront their own behavior. This decision can be made with empathy, acknowledging their humanity, even as you prioritize your health and peace. When applied thoughtfully, empathy becomes a shield rather than a vulnerability. It allows you to navigate toxic interactions with grace, maintain your emotional equilibrium, and uphold your boundaries without succumbing to negativity. In doing so, you demonstrate both strength and compassion, creating an environment where toxicity has little room to thrive. Focusing on your growth when dealing with toxic people is one of the most transformative ways to rise above their negativity. Toxic individuals often drain energy, stifle progress, and distract from your goals. By redirecting your attention to your own development, you reclaim your power and create a positive trajectory that is independent of their influence. This focus not only protects you from their toxicity, but also fosters resilience, confidence, and a sense of purpose. The first step in prioritizing your growth is recognizing that toxic people are often distractions. They may intentionally or unintentionally divert your energy toward conflict, drama, or constant appeasement. This dynamic can make it difficult to focus on your personal aspirations and achievements. However, when you shift your mindset, you see their behavior for what it is, a test of your ability to stay centered. Instead of engaging with their negativity, channel that energy into activities that nurture your potential. Every moment spent on self-improvement is a moment reclaimed from their influence. Building self-awareness is a fundamental aspect of personal growth. Toxic interactions can trigger strong emotions like anger, frustration, or sadness, which, if left unchecked, can hinder your progress. By reflecting on these feelings, you gain insight into your triggers and responses. This awareness allows you to approach toxic situations with greater emotional intelligence, reducing their impact on your mental and emotional state. Journaling, mindfulness, or speaking with a trusted friend or counselor can help you process these emotions and turn them into opportunities for growth. Setting and pursuing meaningful goals is another way to focus on your development. Toxic people often thrive on keeping others stuck or dependent. By defining clear objectives for your personal, professional, or creative life, you create a sense of direction that keeps you moving forward. These goals should be deeply personal and aligned with your values, giving you a sense of purpose that is unaffected by external negativity. For instance, if you've always wanted to learn a new skill, start a project, or advance in your career, use your encounters with toxic individuals as motivation to invest in these endeavors. Their attempts to hold you back become fuel for your progress. Surrounding yourself with positive influences is also essential. Toxic individuals can create an echo chamber of negativity, making it difficult to see beyond their behavior. Seek out relationships and environments that uplift and inspire you. Whether it's connecting with supportive friends, joining a community that shares your interests, or finding a mentor who encourages your growth, these positive interactions reinforce your ability to thrive. They remind you that not all relationships are draining, and that there are people who genuinely want to see you succeed. Another important aspect of focusing on your growth is cultivating self-care practices. Toxic relationships can take a toll on your mental, emotional, and physical health. Prioritize activities that rejuvenate and empower you, such as exercise, meditation, hobbies, or spending time in nature. Self-care is not just about relaxation, it's about building a strong foundation that allows you to handle challenges with grace and resilience. When you are well rested, nourished, and mentally clear, the actions of toxic individuals lose their ability to derail you. Developing a mindset of learning and adaptability is crucial when dealing with toxic people. Every interaction, no matter how challenging, can be an opportunity to grow. Reflect on what the situation is teaching you, whether it's patience, assertiveness, or the importance of boundaries. Adopting a growth-oriented perspective transforms even negative experiences into valuable lessons, making you stronger and more capable over time. Focusing on your growth also involves celebrating your achievements, no matter how small. Toxic individuals often downplay or dismiss the accomplishments of others to maintain control or superiority. Refuse to let their negativity overshadow your progress. Acknowledge your wins, whether it's completing a task, learning something new, or simply maintaining your composure in a difficult interaction. Each success reinforces your confidence and reminds you that you are moving forward, regardless of their attempts to hold you back. Finally, focusing on growth means committing to your vision of a better future. Toxic people often try to trap others in cycles of conflict or stagnation, but your attention to self-improvement breaks that cycle. It shifts the focus away from their behavior and onto your journey, creating a life filled with purpose, achievement, and joy. By prioritizing your development, you not only rise above their toxicity, but also build a life that reflects your true potential. Knowing when to walk away is a powerful skill that can preserve your peace, dignity, and emotional well-being when dealing with toxic people. While it may feel challenging to distance yourself from someone, especially if they are a family member, friend, or colleague, understanding when to step back is essential to maintaining your mental health and personal growth. Walking away is not an act of weakness or failure, it is a declaration of self-respect and an acknowledgement of your right to a life free from unnecessary negativity. The first step in knowing when to walk away is recognizing the signs of toxicity that persist despite your efforts to address them. Some people are unwilling or unable to change, no matter how much understanding, patience, or effort you invest. Repeated patterns of manipulation, disrespect, or emotional harm are clear indicators that the relationship is no longer serving you. Toxic individuals often show little regard for boundaries or personal accountability, leaving you feeling drained, anxious, or devalued after interactions. These experiences are not just occasional annoyances, they become chronic stressors that impact your overall well-being. Walking away requires a shift in perspective, where you prioritize your own needs and happiness over maintaining a toxic connection. This decision can feel difficult, especially if you have invested time and energy into the relationship. However, it is essential to recognize that staying in a harmful dynamic out of guilt, fear, or obligation only prolongs the damage. By stepping back, you create space for healthier relationships and opportunities that align with your values and aspirations. Letting go of what no longer serves you is an act of courage and self-compassion. Emotional detachment is a crucial part of preparing to walk away. Toxic individuals often use guilt, manipulation, or emotional appeals to maintain their hold on you. By detaching from their influence, you can make decisions based on logic and self-preservation rather than being swayed by their tactics. Detachment does not mean you stop caring about the person, it means you choose to care about yourself more. This mindset empowers you to prioritize your peace and protect your energy from being consumed by their negativity. Communication plays an important role when deciding to walk away. While some situations may allow for an open and honest conversation about your decision, others may require a more discreet approach to avoid unnecessary conflict. If you choose to explain your decision, focus on your feelings and needs rather than blaming the other person. For example, you might say, "I feel that our interactions have become unhealthy for me, and I need to take a step back to focus on my well-being." This approach acknowledges your perspective without escalating tensions. In cases where communication is not possible or safe, walking away silently and decisively is equally valid. It's also important to recognize that walking away does not always mean cutting ties permanently. In some cases, stepping back can serve as a temporary measure to regain clarity and emotional balance. This time apart allows you to reflect on the relationship and determine whether it can be salvaged under healthier terms. However, in situations where the toxicity is deeply ingrained or unchanging, walking away may need to be a permanent choice for your long-term well-being. The aftermath of walking away from a toxic person can be emotionally complex. You may feel relief, but also sadness, guilt, or doubt about your decision. These emotions are natural and part of the healing process. It's important to remind yourself that prioritizing your health and happiness is not selfish, it's necessary. Surround yourself with supportive friends, family, or professionals who can help you process these feelings and reinforce your decision to prioritize your well-being. Walking away also creates space for growth and new opportunities. Toxic relationships often consume time and energy that could be better spent on self-improvement, meaningful connections, or pursuing your passions. Once you remove yourself from the negativity, you'll find that you have more capacity to invest in things that truly matter to you. This newfound freedom allows you to rebuild your life on your terms, free from the constraints of someone else's toxicity. Ultimately, knowing when to walk away is about choosing to honor your worth and reclaim your power. It is a decision rooted in self-love and a commitment to living authentically. By stepping away from what drains you, you open the door to a brighter, more fulfilling future where your energy and efforts are directed toward relationships and experiences that uplift and inspire you. Focusing on building a supportive network when dealing with toxic people is one of the most empowering actions you can take to preserve your mental and emotional well-being. Toxic individuals can leave you feeling isolated, drained, and unsure of yourself. A strong support system acts as a counterbalance to their negativity, providing encouragement, understanding, and perspective that strengthens your resilience. It reminds you that you are not alone and that there are people who genuinely care about your well-being. The foundation of a supportive network lies in surrounding yourself with individuals who uplift and inspire you. These are the people who listen without judgment, offer constructive feedback, and celebrate your successes without envy or competition. They can be friends, family members, colleagues, mentors, or even support groups. What matters is their ability to foster a sense of safety and positivity in your life. Identifying these individuals requires you to evaluate your relationships and discern who consistently adds value to your emotional and mental health. Building a supportive network also means being intentional about cultivating relationships. Toxic people often dominate your energy and attention, leaving little room for nurturing other connections. By actively investing time and effort into positive relationships, you create a buffer against the draining effects of toxicity. This could involve scheduling regular catch-ups with a close friend, joining a community or club where you share common interests, or participating in social activities that promote connection and camaraderie. The more you engage with supportive people, the less influence toxic individuals will have over your emotional state. Effective communication is crucial in maintaining a supportive network. When dealing with toxic individuals, it can be tempting to keep your struggles to yourself, either out of fear of judgment or a desire to appear strong. However, sharing your experiences with trusted members of your network can provide relief and clarity. Expressing your feelings and concerns allows others to offer empathy, advice, and perspective that you may not have considered. For instance, a friend might remind you of your strengths or help you see the toxic person's behavior in a more objective light. A strong network also serves as a source of encouragement when you set boundaries or take steps to distance yourself from toxicity. Toxic individuals often react negatively to boundaries, making it easy to doubt yourself or feel guilty. Supportive people can reassure you that prioritizing your well-being is the right decision. They provide validation and remind you that it is okay to prioritize your needs over the demands of others. This reinforcement strengthens your resolve and helps you stay committed to your decisions. Having a supportive network also means being open to receiving help. Toxic individuals can create a sense of helplessness or make you feel as though you have to face challenges alone. Allowing others to support you, whether through advice, practical assistance, or simply being there to listen, is an act of strength, not weakness. It demonstrates that you value your well-being enough to accept the kindness and generosity of others. Moreover, this reciprocal exchange of support deepens your connections and fosters a sense of belonging. Being part of a supportive network is not just about receiving, it's also about giving. Toxic individuals often drain your energy without reciprocating, but healthy relationships thrive on mutual support. Make an effort to be there for others in your network when they face challenges or need encouragement. Offering your time, empathy, and care reinforces the bonds of trust and mutual respect that underpin a strong support system. It also shifts your focus away from the negativity of toxic people and toward positive, meaningful interactions. Technology can play a valuable role in building and maintaining a supportive network. Social media, messaging apps, and online communities allow you to stay connected with friends and like-minded individuals, even if they are geographically distant. However, it's important to use these tools mindfully, as they can also expose you to negativity if not managed carefully. Focus on platforms and interactions that uplift you and avoid engaging with toxic or draining content. Lastly, a supportive network empowers you to grow beyond the limitations imposed by toxic individuals. When you are surrounded by people who believe in you, your confidence and resilience naturally increase. They remind you of your worth, encourage you to pursue your goals, and provide perspective when toxic people attempt to undermine you. Over time, this network becomes a foundation for a life defined by positivity, growth, and fulfillment.